Hey friends, my name is Billy and I am the Kidstown Director at Harvest. Today, I will be wrapping up our series, No Regrets, Raising Great Parents. I have really enjoyed this series because a little over 4 months ago, my husband and I embarked on a brand new adventure, parenthood. In January, we had a precious baby girl named Elle. It has taken every ounce of self-control not to just show you pictures and videos of her for the next 25 minutes because, of course, we think she is just the cutest baby in the world. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to show you just one. Isn't she adorable? We have loved every single minute of being parents. Now, no matter how hard they try, no one can prepare you for the craziness that is life with a newborn. Although I hear that it's true at every stage of parenting, they're all crazy. It was a couple weeks after baby Elle was born. It was the middle of the night. I was sitting in the same clothes I'd probably had on for a few days. I'm pretty sure I had like a whole bottle of dry shampoo in my hair, and I was covered in spit up, and I was trying to get this fussy baby to go back to sleep. And I had this moment of panic. If you are a parent, I bet you have probably had the same moment of panic. I thought, what am I doing? How in the world am I supposed to raise this kid when I can't even remember if I brushed my teeth today? Am I ever going to get a full night's sleep again? Is she hitting all the developmental milestones she's supposed to? And it was in that moment, I had a flashback to an impactful moment at the Orange Conference a few years ago. And the Orange Conference is actually put on by the same company that makes the curriculum that we use in Kidstown every week. And they are who taught me the principles we're going to talk about today. So they rolled out clear jars with 936 glass marbles in them. And they told us that's the number of weeks estimated between birth and high school graduation. Parents and leaders then were challenged to reduce the marbles to the actual number of weeks each child had left in their home or church. And then they were given a simple assignment: remove one marble each week. It was such a powerful representation of how much time you actually have or don't have with the kids in your life, and that we need to make each week matter. This visual representation obviously really made an impact on me, and so I wanted to give you guys this same visual representation so that you could try to apply it to the kids in your lives. However, we learned glass marbles were a little expensive, and so we decided to go with cheese balls. Now, in container number 1, we have 936 cheese balls. This is a rough estimate of how many weeks you have with your newborn baby until they graduate. And then in number 2, we have 624 cheese balls, and that's the number of weeks you have with your kindergartner or your 6-year-old. Then we jump to 6th grade, the start of those awkward middle school years. We have 312 cheese balls left. And then the beginning of high school, 9th grade, you're down to 208 weeks with your high schooler, just 208 cheese balls. And in the last container, this is the week some of you guys are living in right now. It's graduation weekend and you've got one left and your jar is about to be empty. Now, I don't want you to think, oh, my jar is empty. I have no more influence over my kids' lives. That's not it. But I do want to help you realize that it's during these kid and teen years that you have the most influential impact on your kids, and things just kind of shift after they graduate. Growing up in the South, I have been to my fair share of football games. I even used to be a little cheerleader with the rec department. I don't really remember much about that experience except that I was always one step behind everyone else, and that when the countdown clock began to dwindle, that was when everyone got serious about the game. Fans and players and the cheerleaders both were so concentrated and focused on the action on the field. I think it's like a countdown clock. When you put an actual number to the weeks you have left, it will make you see them in a smarter way. Now, this is not an original idea. Moses actually suggested something similar to this in one of the Psalms when he said, "Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." It is such an interesting concept that when you number your days or your weeks, it helps you develop a heart of wisdom. Now, does this mean you have to make every second count and turn every minute into a teaching opportunity and then keep a daily journal to record it all? No, absolutely not. You will drive your kids crazy and you will drive yourself crazy. But I do think that this visual shows you the worth of every week and also how all the weeks add up to something that is very powerful. Now, why didn't God send Jesus as soon as Adam and Eve ate the fruit? He could have resolved the issue then and there, but he waited. He used time. He gave Abraham a son. He let Joseph sit in jail. He sent Moses to deliver a nation, and then he let a nation wander in the desert for decades. Have you ever stopped and thought about why? It was as if God decided, I can help you understand something with time that you could never really understand in a moment. And it's not just that time matters. It's time over time. It's understanding how what you do this week is connected to next week and the next. And when what you do this week is repeated next week and the week after that, it has an accumulative effect. That is just the way life works. It's not 936 cheese balls. It's your time. For example, if a kid is 9 years old, you've already lost half of your cheese balls and you're down to 468. It also means you have 312 cheese balls before they get their driver's license. And from what I hear, once they get their driver's license, things start going a lot faster. After that, you only have a few more summer vacations with them before they probably move out. Is it just me, or does this make your armpits start to sweat? I'm not trying to make us all panic or depressed, but I do want to illustrate how fast time really goes and raise the bar just a little bit on what happens this week. In the middle of the night, where I was probably a little sleep deprived and maybe more than a little stinky, I had the image of those marbles in my head, and I thought, I have to make these weeks matter, but how? Because the bottom line is you're losing your cheese balls or your weeks. But I don't think that this has to be a negative. And so today I want to share with you 4 significant gifts that you can give to your kids over time or over cheese balls. And the first gift that we give our kids over time is love. You know, a lot of things wouldn't make any sense if it weren't for love. Just take music, for example. Without love, there would be no Whitney, Aretha, Dolly, Madonna, or Lady Gaga. And there would certainly be no Elvis, Elton, Eagles, the Beatles, or Barry White. Jesus even made sure that we knew how big of a deal love is when he said it this way. The greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your mind, soul, and strength. And there's a second part to the greatest commandment that's just as important as the first. Love your neighbor as yourself. Loving God matters, loving yourself matters, and loving people matters. Now, love over time happens to be the best strategy to help kids know that they matter. When you love them consistently, when you show up in their lives week after week to demonstrate to them that they are a priority to you, when you love them faithfully in spite of their behavior or their performance, Love over time is the best way to give a child worth. And then one of the best ways to show kids that you love them is simply to prove it. And I have 3 simple ways that you can show love to your kids this week. The first, show up. Show up at the predictable times like the breakfast table or every night before they go to bed. It seems really simple, but it is the same way that God proved his love for us. The entire story of Scripture is about God pursuing a relationship with us over time. Regardless of our behavior and mess, he kept showing up. Number 2, we can prove we care by showing up to give our kids rules. That's what God did. When you read the Old Testament, you don't have to be a Bible scholar to figure out God was in the business of giving rules. I haven't personally counted, but I hear there are over 600 rules in there. It's as if the God who created us knew one of the best ways to begin proving his love was by showing up for thousands of years to say, hey, don't eat that. Don't go over there. You may want to wash that first. This wasn't the only way that he proved his love, but it was one of the first. Finally, he sent his son to walk with us, to be physically present so that we could touch and know him. You prove love as parents and leaders and grandparents in the same way. You simply decide to be physically and consistently present week after week. And remember, kids will test you to see if you really like being around them and with them. And they probably won't believe you love them if you never like them enough to hang around them. Now, the second gift, I think we tend to underestimate because we use it every day, and that's our words. But it seems like words are a pretty big gift from God. I mean, everything started with a word after all. It is interesting that God used words to create a world out of nothing, and God didn't reserve the power of words for only himself. God gave us the ability to give meaning, define attributes, and shape the way people see the world through our words. But like all things with power, words have the potential to do as much damage as they do good. I'm looking at you, Facebook comment section. Now, words can be used to love or to hate, to encourage or tear down, to turn on a light or to close a door. And when you put words over time, something even more significant happens. Words over time actually become a collection of messages that impact someone's direction. This impact can either be positive or negative. Every time you speak, you are reinforcing a kid or teenager's vocabulary. You are giving them words that will shape how they see the world, how they see themselves, and how they think about God. Words over time can also help kids believe. Your analogies, adjectives, and questions will shape how they think about God. You are literally giving kids a spiritual vocabulary. Now, if you grew up without a concept of God, you may be tempted to shut down or feel defeated right now. Maybe you're asking yourself, how can I pass on a theological vocabulary if I don't even know theological words? It is okay. Take my mom, for instance. When I was growing up, it was just me and her, and she really started discovering her faith for the first time when I was in elementary school discovering my faith. And I would bet when I started asking all the questions, and believe me, I asked all the questions, she had a moment of panic. But she did 2 things really well. First, she never steered the conversation away from those things of faith. She may have said, I don't know, but I'll find out, even when she might have been panicking a little bit. And she made church a priority so that I could be surrounded by people who could help teach us both those timeless things of faith. Now let's get practical. If you've ever been to a foreign country, you know how important it is to learn a few key words just to get by. As a leader or a parent, you also have probably realized it's like your kids are speaking a completely different language sometimes. I think it's important to learn to speak in a language that kids understand, but a lot of what kids and teens need to hear doesn't actually ever change. You can start by using some really simple phrases and using them often. Things like, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, I don't know, but we can find out, I'm here for you, I believe in you, you did it, I'm proud of you, keep trying, you can do it. And then the other thing you can do is to recycle the big ideas. You can take the things that you're hearing here at church or the things that we're saying in Kidstown and use that. In Kidstown, we have some basic truths for each age group, like Jesus wants to be my friend forever and I can trust God no matter what. Not only do you save yourself some time, you also increase the chance you will be heard. When you begin to say the same thing in the same way as someone else, you and your words have a greater impact. So when you say something this week, remember a few words can have a lasting influence, and they can impact the direction of someone's life. Just like time, words, and love were God's idea, so were tribes. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how we all have a drive to belong? We all have a desire to fit in somewhere, to be connected, to find our place at someone's table. In fact, I can remember when I was in college, I was sitting on my mom's couch and I was scrolling Instagram, and I came across a post where some of my friends had gone out to dinner and I didn't get the invite, and I was devastated. And I think that one way we can know that belonging is such a powerful drive in the human heart is because not belonging can be devastating. Just like when I didn't get that invite, I felt a little hurt. Everybody needs a circle, and every kid especially needs what we might call a tribe. So what exactly is a tribe? For our context today, it's simply a group of people connected by something in common. Think about it this way. We all define ourselves by tribes. We say things like, I'm in the musician tribe, or I'm in the Braves tribe, I'm in the photography tribe, mom, student, biker tribe. And when someone finds a tribe over time, that is when that tribe can have the potential to become like a family or community. As a parent, friend, teacher, or leader, when you help kids feel welcomed in a tribe over time, you are helping them develop a significant sense of belonging. We see this concept of belonging in a story Jesus told about a father with two sons. I'm sure you've probably heard it. The youngest son left home prematurely. He took his father's inheritance and went to the far country, where he hoped to build his own fortune, find new friends, and leave his mark on the world. Unfortunately, due to a series of wrong decisions and the fact that he had never taken any of Terry's Get Ahead financial courses, he lost his money and everything. Finally, one day, he decided it was time to go home. I can imagine the prodigal son walking over the final hill, looking across the field at the house he grew up in with anxiety. But his loving father runs to meet him and gives him a hug, in spite of his mistakes. Why? He was a smart dad who knew tribes matter, so he did two things. He gave the son a ring to remind him that he still belonged in the family, and he threw a party to ensure him he still had a community where he belonged. That kind of belonging is something that only tribes can do, and the tribes most strategically positioned to do that are the family and the church. Kids and teenagers desperately need people who know them, welcome them, and forgive them over time so that they will know they belong. And that's why we need to be serious about finding the right tribes for our kids. I hope you'll leave today and recognize the potential your family circle and your church circle can have in your kids' lives. That day I was sitting on the couch looking at the Instagram posts of all my friends somewhere without me. I never questioned if I had worth or belonging. Because of the church, I knew that no matter what I did, no matter what happened or where I didn't get invited, I had a place to belong with Jesus and the church. I knew there would always be a seat at the table for me, and I would always have a tribe. And the last thing I want to talk to you about today may be the most controversial and the most important, and it may make some of you a little uncomfortable. Do I have your attention yet? Here it is. We need to have more fun just for fun's sake. Yeah, I'm suggesting it's okay to have fun at church. And yeah, I'm really suggesting that it's okay to have fun at home. It's actually more than okay to have fun with kids and teenagers if you hope to build any kind of lasting relationship with them. If you want to stay connected to your kids and learn how to have fun with them. So what do we mean by fun? Pretty much anything that entertains them, makes them laugh, and helps them enjoy life. Really anything? Now, maybe you should leave out things like skating in traffic or jumping ramps with baby strollers and launching bottle rockets from body parts. You're the adult, and so we do expect you to screen some of the things with a little common sense. And there are definitely some fun things that kids shouldn't do because they're not safe, not age appropriate, or they break a commandment. But we think fun is a really big idea. And at first glance, it may seem trivial when you put it up against love and words and tribes. When you put fun over time, something serious happens. Fun over time creates a powerful connection that takes your relationship with a kid or teen even deeper. Think about it this way. Kids were created with a play drive. So evidently, fun matters so much to God, He decided to illustrate it everywhere in nature to remind us we need to play. If you don't believe me, then you should just come over to my house and see how many times our dog drops her slobbery ball at your feet to play fetch. She was made to play. We were all made, created, and designed to have fun. Too many adults, myself included, take themselves too seriously, and we have forgotten how to have fun at church or at home. Maybe you need to laugh a little more, dance a little longer, play a little harder, especially if you want kids and teenagers to want to show up and be around more, if you want to build a deeper relationship with them. God certainly seems to take fun seriously, so seriously that most of the time when He wants us to focus on our relationship with Him, He tells us to sing, dance, celebrate, eat, and be joyful. Evidently, He wants us to think of our relationship with Him kind of like a party. And everybody loves a good party, especially your kids. The reason it's more than just okay to have fun is because it's actually kind of a strong suggestion in the Bible. The word fun may not be there exactly, but all of its relatives are. May the righteous be glad. Rejoice in the Lord always. Celebrate a festival to the Lord. A cheerful heart is good medicine. However many years anyone may live, let them enjoy them all. Christians should be the most joyful, positive, happy, playful, fun people on the planet. Instead, too many get a rap for being negative and pessimistic, obnoxious, judgmental, and boring. At the risk of oversimplifying, if we played, laughed, danced, and smiled a little more at church and at home, I think kids and teenagers might grow up with a healthier perspective of their families and their Christian community. Fun over time convinces kids you actually like them. Fun over time reconnects what's been disconnected, and fun over time fosters resilience. It doesn't mean you have to make everything in your week fun, but not every moment has to be so serious either. If you want to build trust, have lasting influence, establish a deeper connection, you have to make fun a priority. What you do for kids over time matters. Love could just be a word in a song lyric until you put it over time, and then it gives a kid worth. Words are just something you use to win a game of Scrabble until you put them over time, and then they become a collection of messages to move someone in a better direction. Tribes are just people linked together by a common interest or clubs you sign up to attend until you put them over time. And then they become a family or community where kids can experience belonging. Fun is just a good time until you put it over time. And then it creates a powerful connection that makes your relationship with the kids in your life deeper. What you do this week matters. It matters because every week is one in a number of weeks, and the weeks add up. Sure, there are nearly 1,000 weeks between birth and graduation, but they go by fast. So this week, maybe play a game, tell your kids a story, give them a tribe, and then say it all again, and prove you love them again and again, because over time, it matters.